Insert technical error clip there. Thank you. Right, I wasn't sure where to begin this video, and I think the best place to start this video is by saying hello, welcome back to another video, and today I want to delve into things I'm learning about comics as a complete newbie. So I've only recently started getting into comic books, so I'd say within the last probably 6 to 8 months, I'm going to say that I started properly getting into comic books. And I say 6 to 8 months because the comic book shop I go to is a year old today, and I haven't been going since the start. So yeah, 6 to 8 months is about right, I think. So in that time, there's a lot that I've learned, and I'm still learning. And I thought I'd share that with you, from newbie to newbie, or if you're not a newbie and you just want to see what I have learned, then yeah, by all means, continue watching the video. But yeah, I just wanted to share what I've been learning about comics, because I think it's exciting, and also it might help new people get into comic books, or if they're starting to think about or looking at getting into comic books, it helps. Hopefully this video helps you lot guys as well get into comic books, or just understand how to start getting into comic books, because that's the mindset that I was always in. So before I started, I've always wanted to get into comic books. I say always, not always, but more so recently wanted to get into them. And because there's so much choice, I had no flipping clue where to even begin. Like, if I could be there at the very beginning of the very first comic book and then go, okay, I know where to start with this one from the very beginning, then that would have been ideal. But unfortunately, because comic books have been around for so long, every time I think about it, I get overwhelmed, don't know where to start, and then sort of shut the door on that and move on with my life. But yeah, I then took a leap, and I'm just glad that I did. I am super glad that I did. And when you begin with comic books, so when I started, I don't know if I should mention this actually, but there's so much choice, and I got overwhelmed. And yeah, I got so overwhelmed, and I didn't know where to begin, in the sense of what superhero to go with, or what genre to go with, or what specific comic to go with. Meaning in the sense of, like, so you have, let's say you've got Superman, you've got Batman, you've got Iron Man, you've got Captain America, etc., etc. And then you've got other comic books that aren't superheroes, but I don't know what the name or what the wording for that would be. If you know, let me know down in the comment. I keep saying comics for comments. No, it is comments. So if you know, please leave it down in the comments, because that will help massively. Yeah, so because there's so much choice as well, I feel like it's great because there's something for everyone. I've just mentioned there's superheroes, there's indie comics, there's 18 plus comics. I don't know if manga counts as comics, but I'm going to put it in there. So there's a range of things for everybody to get involved with. Like, there's, what was it called now? It was, what's it called now? Something like, what if Goofy was Spider-Man, for example, or Captain America, for example. There's comics like that as well, which are great for kids and for people like me as well. But I haven't read them, but I keep seeing them in comic book shop going, that's pretty interesting. That is pretty interesting. But yeah, so yeah, there's all sorts for everybody. And for me at the minute, my interest is tailored more towards the superheroes. So started out with Aquaman, the graphic novel. So I've got 1, 2, and 3 of the graphic novels. And in all honesty, they're okay. Like, I didn't pay loads for them, so I'm happy with what I paid for them. They're okay. And then moved into Rick and Morty. And that was a fun one. To fair, I need to get some more because I always like Rick and Morty. That was a graphic novel of that one. And then moved into... No, sorry. I'm wrong there. Started out with Deadpool versus X-Force, the 1-4 series. Yeah, that was a good one to start with. And later on in the video, I'll explain. I've got a list of things I want to talk about, but later on in the video, I'll talk about where I got it from, what happened, and all that. And then it moved into more superheroes, which I'm a huge fan of superheroes. So I've got like Superman Unlimited, Fantastic Four, the 2025 one, most recent ones. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 now, or was it just 3 I've got? I can't remember now. It's either 3 or 4 that's out. I've got the latest one as well. Superman Unlimited, great run so far. And then got the Deadpool Batman, haven't read it yet. And then also got the Absolute Batman and Absolute Superman. And I think there's some others, but they're the main ones that I can remember that I've got, and that I'm excited about, because I've read most of Super Unlimited so far. I've got like the latest one to read. Read Absolute Batman. Read 1 and 2 of Fantastic Four, maybe 3 as well. I can't remember if it's 3 or 4. Cannot remember. I might double check that actually. But yeah. So yeah, just tell you about my comics that I've got. Yeah, so it's exciting. I'm excited about the comics and stuff. But yeah, what's on my list? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I've said about overwhelming. Yeah, everything can feel over. Yeah, just skip over that. I've talked about that. So yeah, another thing that I've wrote down here is that a good thing for beginners or newbies is choose 1 or 2 specific like comics, or I put comics / superheroes. As you know, I don't know what the wording for it is called. Choose 1 or 2 specific, because if you start, because the thing that I've found with it is that because there's so much choice, the way that I looked at it was, oh, I can go for Superman, oh, I can go for Spider-Man, oh, I can go for Batman, oh, I can go for whatever else there is. And it got to a point where I wasn't understanding what I wanted to go for, if that makes sense. So like, I want to go for Spider-Man, I want to go for Superman, but didn't know where to start with him. And then I was like, oh, I'll go this, go that, and it starts getting a bit confusing, and you don't have that run of comics. Or I was slow. There was a slight moment when I thought, oh, this is a bit overwhelming, I'm not sure if it's for me. But once I got into it, I was like, yeah, I understand now, I love it. So yeah, so instead of trying to read everything, a good thing to do is focus on one character or series and then go from there. So like I said, good ones are Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman even. Don't take my recommendation for it, that's just a few, just to name a few. And as well, doing this, it makes it easier to follow the story and not get lost if you stick with like 1 or 2 specific superheroes. So one thing that I found was I tend to stick with one run of like a superhero. So like, for example, Superman Unlimited, so that I understand what is happening. Whereas like, because obviously not every okay, so I don't know where I was with what was talking about. I had a bit of a technical problem with the camera. He said it was overheating, so I just turned it off for a couple of minutes, and it's a little bit warm, but we should be okay to finish the video. Where was I? Yeah, so let's talk about Superman Unlimited, why not? Yeah, so because with superheroes, it's not like, you've got Superman and that's one writer, one artist, one whoever else is part of the comic. Each run can have different artists, have different writers and stuff, so it could get a bit confusing to start with when you're getting into it. So I think one good thing to do is, like I've done with Superman Unlimited, I've stuck with that and gone with the run of it, and it makes sense to me, like, and that's the Superman for me. And it also goes with the film as well, because it correlates. It feels like it's very similar. So I think that's a good good thing to keep in mind as well, basically. That's, you know, just a good thing to keep in mind. Next thing. Yes. So one thing that early on in my days of comics, I'm making this sound like I've been doing it for years. Like I've said, it's 6 to 8 months. Yeah, early on, I was wondering if there was a way to put all the comics that I've got together in like a list or an app or something like that, in a list, and know which ones I've read, which ones like I've got, and any that I want as well. I was wondering if this was a thing, and I wasn't sure, because obviously I'm new to it. I just didn't have a clue. So I asked good old AI, ChatGPT, yes, that's correct, and said, look, is there any way, and basically just said what I wanted, like I've just said now. And yeah, ChatGPT came in clutch. Suggested a few, but the one that I have stuck with and gone with and stuck with, we'll do it in the right order, is League of Comic Geeks. So this is both a website and an app you can download on your phone, your iPad, your tablet, whatever device you've got. And it basically allows you to correlate, is that the right word? I'm going to say put together all your comic books, and you can see basically what I've just said that I wanted. You can see the ones you've got, the ones you've read, the ones you've got and not read, the ones you want, and it also puts it all together in your own sort of dashboard, in the sense of like you can basically filter it out. So you can do it via the publisher, so be that Marvel, DC, and other ones, or you can just do all. So yeah, it's pretty handy doing that. And another good feature of that as well is so when you get a comic book and you want to put it into the app, instead of searching for it and having to find the right one or scrolling through so many options or whatever, you can scan the cover, so take a photo of the cover and it'll just recognise it straight away, and you just click add, or scan the barcode. And there's other ways of doing it, but they're the two simplest, shall we say, which I use. I usually just use to scan the cover, but recently my girlfriend got me the Absolute Batman Day Edition number 1, and that was a mouth word, big word. No, what's the word, Jordan? Tongue twister, not tongue twister. That's a lot to say. Let's go with that. Yeah, she got me that one, and when I scanned it in, there was a couple of options for it, and I didn't know which one it was and stuff. And then, so I had to do it through the barcode thing, and once I understood, or read the barcode thing and put it together, I found the right one, I think. Fingers crossed. Yeah, League of Comic Book Geeks is phenomenal. Like, I'd recommend it to anybody. It's free as well. There is ones out there, I can't remember the name of them, but you have to pay like a subscription for them. Apparently they are better, but for what you get for free on that, it's incredible. You don't have to put any effort in, and it's all there, correlated. I want to say correlated is the right word. I'm going to go with put in. It's all put in there, all, sorted for you. It is phenomenal, and it's free. You honestly cannot argue with that. It is free, and winner chicken dinner. Winner chicken dinner. Yeah, and as well with that, it as well, just one last thing on that is it helps you be less confused. So for me, if I didn't have the app, I don't have many comics, so I'd know what I've got, but in the long run, it helps because I would be able to know what comics I've got and what's coming up in the series as well of that comic book. So you'll be able to see when the graphic novel's coming out, when the new comic's coming out, and what the covers look like, because obviously you get different variants and stuff. So you can see what covers they are and if they're special edition ones or stuff like that. Limited edition, sorry, not special editions. And stuff like that. So, yeah. The Comic Book Geeks, as I've said, winner, chicken dinner. And finally, the last thing I wanted to mention just about things I'm learning about comic books is one big thing I'd recommend if you've got no flipping clue where to start, where to begin, what to do, which comic to pick up, where to look, whatever, is go and have a look in the comic book shops, in your local comic book shop if you've got one, and speak to the comic book shop owner or staff member that's in the shop at the time. I did this when I first started out, so we went to the local comic book shop. I say local, it's in the city, it's about 40-minute journey, and so it's a bit of a trek, and I'll explain where I got my comic books from in a bit. But so because we had to go into the city anyway to do some bits and bobs, we saw a sign for the comic book shop. I thought, oh, we'll have a look in there, see what there is, because it's not just comic books. There's a load of pop culture stuff like pop figures, bags, statues, all sorts of games, whatever. So I went in and I saw comic books at the end, at the back, and I thought, I'm gonna go have a look. I'm gonna go have a look. And my girlfriend basically said, "Oh, why didn't you pick this one? Why didn't you pick that?" I was like, in my head, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I really don't know where to start. Really do not know where to start. So I said to my girlfriend, I said, I'm gonna go ask him. I'm going to go ask the guy at the till, and I think he's the owner of the shop. I could be wrong. I'm going to go ask him. So I did. I went over and asked him, and honestly, the most helpful guy you've ever known. He recommended doing the series, starting off with a series, because they have, in the store, they have, not all comic book shop have this, but they had a comic book box full of, like, series of runs, so, like, mini-series, so the one I picked up was because I like Deadpool, picked up the Deadpool versus X-Force miniseries, which was 1 to 4, and that's all there is of that one. And it was, honestly, the best purchase I could ever make. I think it cost me £20 for that, which for 4 comics probably could have been cheaper, but when starting out, I had no clue of prices, and I thought that weren't reasonably bad. So, yeah, I'd recommend speaking to the comic book shop owner and just get their insight into it, because obviously they're selling the products, they're selling the comics, so they should, fingers crossed, know what they're talking about. So yeah, I'd recommend speaking to them if you've got no clue, and that's the way I got started into it. And like I said, because obviously the comic book shop that we go to is quite a trek to get to, I've started getting comic books online through a website called Forbidden Planet, and they're well known. They've got stores across the UK. I think they've got about 12 stores. I could be wrong there. And because since getting into comic books, understanding more, and using League of Comic Book Geeks app to know of comic books and stuff, doing it online has made it actually more easier, because when you go into comic book shops, they might not have what you're looking for, and you've got to go sifting through all the boxes and stuff. Whereas online, you can search for it, and if it's there in it. Click to add to basket, and you're done, basically. Yeah, it's great doing online. The only downside I've noticed doing online is through that website specifically is the shipping cost. It's not too bad, but like if you add more on and the price goes up, the shipping cost goes up. I don't know why. Don't know why they do that. But I've got to admit, like, when you do get it delivered, it comes in a good cardboard, like good cardboard packaging. Comes in its bag. They don't get bagged and board if they're below a certain price, but a bag and board moment anyway. But it's just great service. So yeah, I do it online and do go to the comic book shop as well. And now that I know what I'm looking for and what I'm doing, in a sense of, for me, I feel more comfortable ordering online, and I feel more comfortable going into the comic book shops as well, which is perfect. So yeah, I've got nothing else to say. That's what I'm learning. That's what I've learned about comics, and my camera is heating up again. So yeah, I'm finished. I'm finished with what I'm saying. So yeah, thanks for joining me on that conversation. Took a lot longer than I expected, but yeah, slowed it down a bit for this video, which I'm happy about. So yeah, and if I say so one more time, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get annoyed with myself. And I've just paused then because I was going to say so again. So, with that in mind, I'm going to end the video, and I will see you in the next video. Oh, and as well, like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!